Hello, this is the video that's going to help you write the Biology of a Disease paper for Biology 1A course at CSU Fresno. So let's quickly go through the steps that I needed for writing the paper, and I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. So the first thing that I want you guys to do is organize your paper before you start writing any disease paper. So right now I've picked up the topic of cystic fibrosis. So before you start writing the actual paper, you need to categorize or summarize what you're gonna want in your paper. So for now, I have introduction, causes, diagnosis and symptoms, and treatment. These are gonna be the four main chunks of my paper. After doing this, when you've realized what are the main 4 or 5 different points that you need throughout your paper, you will go ahead in each section and start writing out what are the things you would want. So I just did for one, that is causes. Now in cystic fibrosis, I have 3 main things that I want to discuss in causes. The first one is genetic mutations that are taking place on the chromosomes. The second one I would discuss is structure of CFTR protein. The third one is effect of abnormal protein at molecular level. Now, when I do these lists, I do not randomly include any topic into anywhere. So what I mean is, I'm not going to talk about the structure of CFTR in the introduction. I'm not going to talk about structure of CFTR in diagnosis and symptoms, nor in the treatment. So now each paragraph has whatever content you want in it, very specific to that. So you do not mix and match ideas in it. So that is the first line of organization. Next, each of these subtopics that you had, like genetic mutations of the chromosome, now you would expand it into an entire paragraph or a section. So what you do is, when you start writing a paragraph, now whatever paragraph you write, the first sentence of the paragraph is called the opening sentence. This opening sentence is the one that will describe what I'm going to talk about in the bottom parts of the paragraph. So if I'm talking about the mutation in the gene of protein CFTR, that's what I'm going to build up my story on. The entire paragraph will be built on that. So the next sentence that follows is going to be built up on the first sentence, and so on. Each sentence following will be continuation from the first one and gives more and more information on the first, and so kind of build up the ideas and lead to what the whole concept is. And in this way, you can complete the most of the paper. And then when you go through and review the paper, you will find some common mistakes. The most common mistakes that I've found are, in this one, if you read the sentence, the food that we eat are broken down into glucose. The glucose then goes into the bloodstream. In order for glucose to get into the cells, they use insulin. Diabetes is when blood glucose is too high in someone's blood. Now, what are the common mistakes that you can point out? The first one that I think is use of personal pronouns. You start using we, I, me, my, someone's blood, and all those things. That makes it informal. So first check that you want to do whenever you go through your paper. Try and avoid as much as you can whenever you're using we, someone's blood, I, a patient, or any others. Next that you observe is active voice or narration form. The entire passage has been written in the form to narrate a story. So it's kind of a story that is going on. So the food we eat, the food is the subject followed by verb and then the object. So you want to change that to passive form. The next that you observe is a lot of informal clutter, and it is not concise. In the next slide, you will see how you can make it concise. So the top one is the one that was the original one, and then I've corrected the top, and then you can see how most of the words that were vague, informal have been removed out. You got to be very precise. You have to be on the topic. It's not like an essay that you're writing. It's not a story that you're writing. That is in literature class. For biology or for scientific writing, you need to be very precise, to the topic, and in a very, very concise manner. So each word that you use has to have some importance to it. Another example that I've taken is huge amount of clutter, and the whole paragraph can be just now shortened down to half the size. let me show you how the corrections go. So the first sentence, now that is known what causes type 2, there are many ways to prevent the disease, prevent getting the disease. Again, it was active voice, it is informal. The whole sentence is changed down to there are several ways to prevent type 2 diabetes. Very straightforward, to the point. Next one, the most important method is preventive health care. That includes balanced diet and healthy workout. This has taken care of the huge long sentence that was the number one thing that needs to be done is preventive health care. Second sentence was a person needs to have a good diet and a good workout plan to keep him from sedentary lifestyle. All this junk has been just condensed to one sentence, that is the most important method is preventive health care. That includes balanced diet and healthy workout. Same with the last one. By having a good diet and healthy workout. Again, when you are not concise, also one more check that you want to do in your paper, you will start repeating the same words a lot of times. If you find the same format of words being repeated 3 or 4 times, you need to concise your sentences. If you look at this one, the first it says preventive health care. Second, it says good diet and workout plan. The third time it mentions again good diet and exercising. So it's the same thing over and over again 3 times, which means this entire thing can be cluttered and reduced down to a great extent. Now, this was just an overview for you to have to look at what are the most common mistakes that everybody does. Apart from these, there are many others like spelling mistakes, mechanics mistakes, meaning you didn't leave a space in between 2 words that you were supposed to. Citation styles, grammar check. All these are common mistakes that most of you are doing. Also, the most common mistake in everybody's paper was, and you must have got a comment from me saying that no biological information present, or where is the biology? What we want you to do is connect whatever you're studying in the class in Bio 1A to the disease, meaning you got to explain the disease at a molecular level. You need to know what is happening inside the cell that is causing the disease. Are there any genes involved? Are there any proteins involved? At what stage of protein production is defective or is causing an abnormal protein, or what is happening? So that is the most crucial crunch part that we will look for in your disease paper. I'm literally going to hunt down if you've written down biology or not. If it is missing, you will lose points. Also, before your final submission, you can email me as many drafts as you want, and as and when I get time, I can correct and get back to you. And you will have an announcement on Blackboard soon as to how to upload your paper, where to upload your paper, how to check for plagiarism, and all that information. Till then, have a good luck writing your paper. Thank you.